Hello guys, Matthew here and welcome back again to the TechTick YouTube channel. Another day and another GeForce GTX 1070 in my hands, this one being the Gigabyte's GTX 1070 G1 Gaming Edition, for which I was actually pretty eager to try out since they redesigned the cooler for the Nvidia's launch of the Pascal architecture. Front of the box received some subtle changes where Gigabyte went with an orange theme this time for the visuals, but one thing that particularly caught my eye were the pointed out features in the bottom left corner, that being the presence of the WindForce cooler design, RGB lighting and factory overclock. The overview of those features continues to the back side of the box in a more detailed manner, followed up with some pictures and a layout of video outputs. Opening up the package in this separate box, I only got an optical disc with drivers and software and a quick start guide, nothing more, which is kinda disappointing but then again expected as it's not any different compared to the last generation. And here's the graphics card itself. Right away you can see that the main difference compared to the Gigabyte's last generation of G1 gaming series comes from the outer shroud, which now incorporates a completely new design, but it still keeps its well familiar name, WindForce. As we said, Gigabyte this time went with a black and subtle orange theme, which overall looks pretty cool and will fall in line with the rest of your components. The only thing I resent them a bit is that it's completely made out of plastic and it looks and feels like plastic, whereas with the last generation that wasn't so noticeable on first sight, although it was also made out of plastic. At least because of this the card is really light for its size. Of course the main cooling components hide beneath that outer shell, that being two divided aluminum blocks which are connected between each other with two very thick heat pipes. Front portion of it is covering the GPU and video memory, while the back block is cooling off the power design. I guess Gigabyte didn't went with more heat pipes since they put a triple 80mm fan configuration that keeps everything cool and which is a common setup for their WindForce cooler series, especially in high-end models. Gigabyte also did some adjustments to the PCB in terms of the power design, where they instead of 4+1 put a 6+2 phase design. Despite of that change, this model received only one 8-pin PCI Express power connector. Right next to that, on the side of the graphics card, you can see the fan stop sign and Gigabyte's logo, which are illuminated by RGB LEDs and are completely controllable using the dedicated Gigabyte software, as you'll see later on. Turning the card to the other side, you can see that Gigabyte didn't forget to put a backplate on it, which is a big plus in my book as it adds additional rigidity, cooling capabilities and a cool looking touch to the card's overall design on account of this big Gigabyte logo and interesting surface pattern. Last but not the least, for connectors here on the top we have two SLI connection points and on the front a reference setup of video outputs carrying 3 display ports 1.4, 1 HDMI 2.0B and 1 DVI-D. Putting everything together and turning the system and the card on, finally it's time to have some fun. As with any other non-reference card, Gigabyte also put some effort in delivering a factory overclocked model out of the box. Just like the MSI's Gaming X model, this model also has 3 different working modes, 2 of them which actually matter, the gaming and the OC mode. Gaming mode basically represents the card's default factory overclocked GPU state, while the OC mode bumps up that frequency for about 20 MHz more. As you can see here, all of this is done using the Gigabyte's own Gaming Extreme Engine software, and I used both modes for my benchmarking. Taking a look at the performance of the card, you can see that it's pretty much on par with the MSI's Gaming X edition. The raw power that it outputs is good enough even for higher resolutions, like in my case the 21:9 1344x1440. In regards of the 1080p resolution and gaming on it, the GTX 1070 is a clear overkill, but it can be useful in scenarios where you need to reach a ton of FPS for a gaming monitor with a high refresh rate. Overall, as you can see, the OC mode gets a slight advantage over the gaming mode FPS count wise, but nothing spectacular. Feel free to use the card in OC mode all the time as it brings that extra level of performance without any fear of unwanted consequences. Although the default stock clocks for gaming and OC modes are at 1784 and 1822 MHz of GPU boost clock, in both cases those frequencies can go even higher than that, just as seen on other Pascal-based GPUs. In case of this model, I saw it went up to 1920 MHz, usually sticking around on average at 1900 MHz, all thanks to the Nvidia's GPU Boost 3.0 technology. Taking it a bit further with manual overclocking, I managed to get pretty conservative plus 70 MHz on the GPU clock side, which took me just about 2000 MHz on average with the GPU Boost technology. On the other side, the GDDR5 video memory was pretty overclockable, reaching just below 2400 MHz mark, overall delivering a decent jump in performance together with the overclocked GPU. Load temperature is a tad lower than compared to the MSI's Gaming X version, standing still at 66 degrees Celsius with fans running at 50% of speed and 2100 RPMs, but on the other spectrum of the things, the noise that fans made was decently louder. Idle temperature was measured at exactly 45 degrees Celsius, which is 4 degrees Celsius more than on the MSI's gaming model. That's still a lot higher compared to the Founders Edition, as the Gigabyte's G1 gaming model has the 0 dB fan mode, where the fans completely turn off once the card is in idle. That's also indicated by the fan stop RGB sign, where it turns on when the fans stop working, while beside it you can see that it's accompanied with an also RGB Gigabyte logo, making this model a part of the RGB trend and hype among computer components. Besides switching between the card's modes, as I showed off earlier, in the Gaming Extreme engine you can also control the color and lighting style effect of the aforementioned logos. In there you can control some other things like change and adjust fan curves to your willing, do some manual overclocking as I showed before, and so on. Pretty much your usual stuff like seen on some software from other vendors, but under a different skin and with some expanded and unique capabilities. That's it guys for this time. Thank you once again for checking out the unboxing and review of the Gigabyte's GTX 1070 G1 gaming graphics card. Feel free to give this video a thumbs up if you like it, leave a comment down below if you have any questions about the product, and of course if you would like to see more content like this you can subscribe to the TechTick YouTube channel, or you can just check out some of the other videos from before.